Yes, I'm first. Pardon? Yeah, please. But we're missing, we need Lisa back. Here she comes. Do we have everybody physically who's here, down here? And Jen's on Zoom? Yeah, but 1, 2, 3, 4. I thought we had 5 in total. Construction of a new school. Board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comments is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. The comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. According to our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolutions being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. Comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Madam Superintendent, do you have any remarks this evening?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Ms. Matheson. Good evening, School Board of Directors, to my team, to the entire public, and everyone who's listening on the sound of my voice. Just think, in 2.5 weeks, school will start again. Yeah! So we're looking forward to starting school. Everybody should be happy.
Please know the staff is not against it.
So ensure that everyone is ready, or hopefully everyone had an opportunity to recharge, get reinvigorated, and get ready for back to learning, because we are in the learning business. I want to also say to our families and students, we're looking forward to welcome you back to school. And as a way of doing that, we're going to have our back to school bash on Tuesday, August 13th, and we are inviting everyone to participate. And it will be at Cedar Beach Park from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to have lots of food, backpacks, basketball, soccer, swimming, we have approximately 65 or so vendors throughout the community who will be there. We want to thank all of our partners who have donated resources, their time, informational, and their checks. And we are still accepting checks. So if you'd like to still contribute to this great event, we're looking forward to really beginning the year with a big bash. So all families, don't buy those supplies yet, because we have supplies for you, and we have thousands of them, so please come. Also, and I want to thank our entire team who's working on this. Let's see, make sure. Orientation. Orientation is designed to support our Allentown School District students entering kindergarten and grade 6 and 9 by providing a smooth transition and reducing first day of school anxiety. So orientation for the traditional grades will take place on Thursday, August 22nd, and all students, again, in grades 6, 9, and kindergarten are encouraged to attend. So all families, 6, 9 in kindergarten, please come. The first day for you for orientation is August 22nd. And the first day of school, everyone say it's August 26th. August
August
26th.
26th.
Yes, yes. August 26th is the first day of school. We are excited. Registration right now is currently open. Please encourage all families to register early. We want to ensure that we have the smoothest operation start of the school year as possible. So if you register early, we won't have as many, actually challenges with getting people into classes and such. So please register early. If you need all these things that I said, you can find this information on our website, www.allentownsd.org. Please also follow us on our social channels, on our social channels, Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn and X. And again, I want to thank all of our teachers and everyone who's working really hard for preparing for our opening of school. Our human resources team, we are still looking for key members to join our team. So if you'd like to become an educator and you're in even another sector, we welcome you in. We have various roles still to fill. Tonight we have several committees tonight, and tonight on our first finance agenda, we are recommending for the approval for transportation. We'll have a transportation update, as well as we're going to have requests approval from the board around a land matter. So that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Right. At this time, we're taking public comments only on agenda items. Do we have any cards? Okay. We have 5 items on the finance agenda this evening. The first is a discussion item only, and it regards the 24-25 depositories. Mr. Fazio, are you?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Madison. We have 5 depositories. They're listed there. Our main depository is the First Trust Bank. Our investment accounts are the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, as well as the Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Fund. Those are our savings accounts, if you will. The others, Wells Fargo and M&T Bank. Those are the banks that we use to pay our bond issues. So every year, the board is required to approve the banks that we use, our depositories.
Does that conclude your presentation?
On that item,
On that item, yes. Transportation is next.
going to defer to my esteemed
Eh,
colleague,
Yes, and I was just going to ask you to do that.
and he's over here.
I wondered where he was hiding. All right.
Good evening. Here's your transportation update for August 2024. Construction to the STA terminal is on schedule, and a majority of the work will be completed by August 19th. There is an air conditioning issue that's on back order. That's why it's pushed back till August 19th. STA's back to school startup meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, August 9th, for all STA employees. Most of the fleet is on site and has been PA state inspected. There are a few buses that are set to arrive from the manufacturer after school starts, but STA has brought in buses to cover that work until they are ready. A contract between STA and the workforce union was ratified on July 27th. And the transportation team has been routing students in cooperation with STA. We hope to have most of the routes to the schools by August 12th, so phone calls can be made. Dry runs will take place August 15th and 16th, and the transportation team will be on site during that time to get driver feedback and to make those changes right away, and then notify parents of any changes that we have from the drivers. Any questions?
What happens tomorrow? I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go.
What happens tomorrow again?
It's the back to school startup meeting. It's the first formal meeting that STA is having for all the employees.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
The next item is an action item. And, Mr. Fazio will present a request for the approval for the district solicitor to execute agreement to purchase land.
I'm going to introduce Dr. McCullough. He's going to address that issue as well. He's over here.
Thank you, Mr. Fezia. Good evening, Superintendent and distinguished members of the Board of Education and our public. Yeah, the action item we're asking for this evening is for the board to consider approval of our district solicitor to complete an agreement for property purchase.
I'm looking at you because the microphone isn't quite.
It needs to be up a little bit. Thank you. Any questions?
Seeing no questions, this was an action item. May I have a motion to move this item forward to the
I make
August
that motion.
22nd meeting? We have a maker and a seconder. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the motion carries. The fourth item is also an action item. And we're presenting a request for approval to renew the contract with Breslin Architects to conduct a district-wide feasibility study.
Yes, thank you, Chair. The purpose of the feasibility study is to do a district-wide assessment of our facilities, as well as a combination of a review of how the educational program works inside those facilities. So we can do a short-term and long-term look at our facilities and what may need to be addressed to meet our educational program as well as facility needs. The recommendation is to approve Breslin Architects to complete that comprehensive district-wide study for a fee of $16,825. The only thing else I want to add is we've reached out to 23 architectural firms to share the proposal, to share our request for proposal with them. Of that, we received 7 proposals back. We also reached out to 6 minority business enterprises as well, requesting, so they knew that we were doing a request for proposals as well. The proposed fees range from $16,825 to over $200,000. So our recommendation is for the board to appoint Breslin Architects to complete that study.
Is there any discussion
Question.
or question?
Is it only our facilities or is it the grounds or just the buildings only?
Buildings and grounds, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Great,
Okay.
great point. I'm glad you asked that.
So what are we looking at when it comes to the grounds?
Well, all the grounds, do they meet our educational program, our curricular, co-curricular programs that the grounds are used for?
Is that like the playgrounds and all that stuff too?
Playgrounds, athletic fields, yes. Thank you.
Oh, athletic field.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
May I have a motion to move this item forward
I make
to
that
the August 22nd meeting?
So move.
And we have a maker. Do we have a seconder? And we have a seconder. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank
And
you
the
very much.
final item tonight is also an action item presented. We're requesting the approval to initiate tax assessment appeals.
Sure, yep. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. As you know, taxpayers, real estate taxpayers have the ability to challenge their property assessment if they feel that their assessment is too high. The district in turn has that same right. And we've identified a number of properties, 6 properties attached to your agenda through the transferred tax rolls where we identified, we looked at what the property was assessed for versus what the property was recently sold for. These property meets our policy and our guidelines. We have a requirement that they have to be filed within this month in August. And we're asking for your approval for these 6 properties.
Is there any question for Mr. Fazio? Seeing none, may I have a motion to move this item forward to the August 22nd meeting?
So moved.
And we have a maker. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
And we have a seconder. And is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. At this time, we're taking public comments on non-agenda items. And do we have any cards? No? Is there any old business to come before this committee of the whole meeting? Any new business? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Next one is the policy meeting of Committee of the Whole. I'd like to call to order of the Policy Committee of the Whole meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Allentown for today, August 8th, 2024. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda or non-agenda item. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and limited to the agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented and resolution being considered or on other items affecting administration, management, or operation of this district. Remarks of personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to Mr. Simonson. Anything? Do we have any? Okay. Superintendent remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Tonight, we're excited to present 11 policies to the board for the first reading. These include a number of policies in the 100 series, i.e. programs. A number of these policies will be new to the district, while others contain small updates to bring us in line with recommendations from the Pennsylvania School Boards Association. Thank you.
Okay. We have 11 policies to present this evening. They are all from the 100 series. My colleagues do not object. I would like to request we vote on all policies together after administration completes its presentation.
Yes,
Is that
thank
okay?
you.
All right. Ms. Smith?
Good evening, Dr. Burks. Good evening, board. Tonight, our first policy is a new policy, and it's entitled tutoring. This policy does state, and this is important because it does talk about external tutoring, but that wherever possible within the working day, each teaching staff member shall assist assigned students in the remediation of individual learning difficulties. This policy is intended to provide a comprehensive overview of student tutoring, including provisions for addressing students' rights to be excused from school for tutoring, resident students who are not enrolled in the district due to private tutoring, and certification in criminal history child abuse clearance requirements. It is written in accordance with Chapter 4 and Chapter 11 regulations, as well as school code. Any questions on tutoring policy?
No. Thank you. All right. Mr. Sickett?
Good evening. Policy 117 is a new policy. It is homebound. The policy is intended to address the district's provision of homebound instruction to students who cannot attend school in person due to illness, injury, or other specified reasons consistent with provisions of the school code and Chapter 11 regulations. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thank you. Dr. Savoy?
Good evening, Board and Dr. Burks. I'm introducing Policy 118. It is a new policy in alignment with the Chapter 4 regulations, and it's a policy to address the requirements for any course that is considered independent study. Upon approval of the policy, we will have administrative regulations in addition to a committee to form the requirements for independent study courses to submit back to the board.
A question on independent studies. What exactly does that mean? One of our students can do something independently, such as what?
That's what we have to determine. What courses are we going to offer for independent study? It should be something that we're not offering as a course. Let's say right now, if someone wanted to study urban agriculture, we don't have a course in urban agriculture. However, we need to develop, this is what the course should, the independent study should align to, and then what are the requirements for the student, and then what are the requirements for the district to support that student and monitor in independent study.
Okay, so I'm gonna show my age. So when I was in high school, one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to be a fashion designer. So I did independent study with our sewing class, even though I had taken it for all 4 years. But they didn't have another class for that one. So when I ended up doing an independent study with the sewing teacher, doing darts and all that other kind of stuff. So now
Good.
I understand.
And it could also be an independent study, which we have to determine, but another out-of-the-box thinking is an independent study with another organization that offers something that we don't offer.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Ms. Smith?
Good evening again. This is policy 119 and it is current events. We did change the definition in this policy. The new definition is current events are issues and topics of discussion of import that are not expressively enumerated in the course guide as content, but which are relevant to the population at large. What this allows our teachers to do is we are relating it to the course's educational goals and the student's level of maturity. It does not it is not aimed at persuading students particular point of views. It encourages balanced presentations and open-mindedness, and it's conducted in the spirit of scholarly inquiry.
Any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. Dr. Zoll.
Good evening again. I am bringing field trips, our policy for field trips back to the board. There are a few changes. One is in the definition of a field trip. We identified athletic trips, extracurricular activities, and individual student service learning and individualized student work experiences as not being field trips. And we also changed the language regarding when students are participating in a field trip, they're under the supervision and responsibility of the district before it said the board. And then we said that under the supervision of the district, subject to board policy before it said its. So we specified board policy there, in addition to school rules and code of conduct. Those were the minor changes.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much. Next is Dr. Sanchez.
Good evening, School Board of Directors, Superintendent Dr. Burks. This evening, I'm bringing up the concussion management policy, 123.1. There are no revisions to this policy this evening.
Okay, so I have questions with that. The concussion policy, I noticed it was just about athletics. What about our students that it happens to when they hit their head in school?
Yes, and we have several support services in place for the students. We collaborate with the Brain Steps team to multiple things, to assist with support services upon returning and also facilitate that transition back to school.
So this happened to my son. That's why I had a problem with that high school over there, because he got a concussion playing outside. They were playing football. No one from the school district, this was back in 2015, nothing. I didn't get no help whatsoever, any help whatsoever. So I'm asking with this, that the principals, especially the principals, because they're the managers of each of those buildings, understand and knows this concussion policy, because even with if child just, my child got hit with a computer. Once he fell, and then once he got hit with a computer in the head. So I'm hoping that this is really, really stressed to our building managers, our principals. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then Ms. Perez.
Good evening. I have policy 123.2, which is some updated language to electrocardiogram testing within our student athlete population. The updated policy is to include language requiring schools to provide information about electrocardiogram testing, including the potential risks, benefits, and evidentiary basis behind such testing, and to inform parents about the option to request from the family's medical provider the administration of an electrocardiogram in addition to the comprehensive initial participation physical examination in accordance with the school code.
Any questions? Thank you for presentation. All right, Dr. Sanchez will present the final four policy for the first reading.
Good evening again. This evening, I'm presenting homeschool policy number 137. For this policy, district policies 131.1 homeschooling agreement, 137.2 homeschooling affidavit elementary, and 137.2 homeschooling affidavit secondary were reviewed in drafting policy 137. But were not used. These documents are forms that should be maintained as attachments to the policy or as administrative regulations. The documents were also approved in 2015 and may not reflect current affidavit requirements or district practice. This revision also removed language throughout the policy regarding participation in interscholastic sports and extracurricular activities by home education students. This language is addressed in separate policy 137.1, extracurricular participation by home education students. It also removed the majority of district language from policy and identifying specific components of home education programs, including affidavit requirements, portfolio contents, written evaluation of the student's program progress, and other program details, and replaced it with PSBA's policy guide language for clarity and conciseness. In some cases, the district language is out of date with current code provisions, and in other instances, the language is more detailed and procedural and would be better addressed in administrative regulation. It also added language to more clearly articulate that the notarized affidavit must be filed on or before August 1st in accordance with the school code. Updated language specific to home education supervisors and programs found out to be out of compliance as a recommendation and for clarity and consistency with school code provisions. It also updated language specific to home education supervisors and programs found to be out of compliance as a recommendation, again, for clarity and consistency with school code provisions. Added language on the right to appeal the decision of the hearing examiner consistent with school code, and expanded on language related to transfers of a home education program from one school district to another for additional clarity of what is required under the school code. And that's for policy 137, homeschooling.
Anyone have any questions? No questions.
I'm presenting new policy 137.1, extracurricular participation by home education students. This policy addresses the right of a student enrolled in a home education program to participate in the district's extracurricular activities and interscholastic athletic programs under the school code and the district's conditions for participation by the student. The language has been replaced with PSBA's policy guide for clarity and conciseness. In some cases, the district's language is out of date, once again with current code provisions, and in other instances, the language is more detailed and procedural and would be better addressed in administrative regulations.
I do have a question. With our children that do homeschooling, are they being told that you could, I mean, is that something being sent out to them, I don't know, via letter, email, whatever, that they can participate in our sports and things of that nature?
And that's one of the things I'm bringing forth, the
Okay.
need to specify, clarify, being very detailed in that communication, procedures, et cetera.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Next one.
Moving on to another new policy, 137.2, participation in co-curricular activities and academic courses by home education students. Policy addresses the requirements under the school code effective beginning with the 2023-2024 school year pertaining to participation by home education students in district co-curricular activities and academic courses. The policy also states that students attending homeschool education programs shall be given equal opportunity to compete for positions and participate in district co-curricular activities and academic courses in accordance with board policy on the same basis as other students enrolled full-time in the district. It outlines the conditions for eligibility and participation, addresses transportation, and includes optional language to establish limits on participation in academic courses and prioritization for enrollment in designated activities and programs in accordance with law.
Again, I wanted to stress, make sure that it's sent out to our homeschool students. Next policy.
Mhm. And also new policy 137.3, titled Participation in Career and Technical Education Programs by Home Education Students. The policy addresses the requirements under the school code effective, once again, with the 23-24 school year pertaining to participation by home education students in career and technical education programs that are either at an area career and technology center in which the district participates or district-operated career and technical education programs or centers. The policy states that students attending homeschool education programs shall be given an equal opportunity to apply for participation in career and technical education programs in accordance with board policy on the same basis as other students enrolled full-time in the district. It outlines the conditions for eligibility and participation, addresses transportation, and includes optional language to establish prioritization procedures for enrollment in career and technical education programs with limited seat allocation provisions in accordance with law. And upon approval of these policies, the district will establish a committee will originate a committee to establish administrative procedures, expectations, protocols for registrations, and annual evaluation.
I do have a question now. I just found out that what our security person is going to be starting in our school district as a teacher for fashion design. Can a homeschool student come just for that class? Okay. All right, that's it.
Madam Chair, can I make
Mhm.
a statement?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong person. We got it.
In addition to the study, what is going to what are the requirements, the evaluation and monitoring, and then what is the communication and the level of support that the district can offer our homeschool students. Thank you. So I said something a few times on the track. I'm trying to it's just elevating the communication around the policies. So once the board finalizes policies, it goes to send out to our entire community. Our website and these are the policies that out there will also special users. Today. So we have the first to this situation. I'm sure this group knows our studies are so aware of the policies that the culture that we make these decisions.
Again, we're going through that time again. May I have a motion to move also over to the August 2024 board meeting? And a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We have any any old business? I don't know if it's in the education or in the policy. It's in the policy. Georgia's Art Foundation has a cease and desist. It's over 2 years. We're going to have a huge school back. It's not fair that people thought it was a banning of them from the schools, but no, it was a cease and desist and using the name. It's not fair that they feel and their students feel that they can't come to that they can't wear the Georgia's Art Foundation t-shirts. You know, people had fit that, you know, the middle school program is not run by us, run by Lee Good, and that's his baby, and he had for Broad Middle School, he had Ortiz be a coach for that team. And it was not our program, it was there. And, that team won. I think we should, as a board, get rid of the cease and desist. It's been so long. Don't know what she's saying about this, Jeff, but I think that cease and desist needs to stop.
Have issued an opinion to the administration on the subject to address the criteria on which be addressing these types of issues moving forward. As yet likely to address those criteria in its implementation. But we, as practical matters, not actually see anything because the sunshine.
I think the board doesn't even do the cease and desist. I think the board does do the cease and desist.
I believe that we did officially authorize the cease and desist previously, but I might be wrong.
I don't remember the board. It's letters to them. And I think that's the board leadership.
But we have, I'm just saying, I'm following direction, I think, of the board that has addressed this.
Okay, this is the procedure.
Pardon me?
This is the procedure. It's the cease and desist lifted.
That's what I addressed in my communication. Board.
Send that email out again.
Pardon me?
Send that email out.
I believe Dr. Brooks has possession of that recommendation.
So we decided that we want to have a technical this matter. So we want to look holistically how we approach these matters, not just with one organization, but overall. To the organization, what types of things that can occur that would have the district, the organization participating in these activities. So we want to go to policy. So that is the recommendation as a solicitor. So we'll be happy to bring that to the meeting speak with policy chair. What is the criteria? It's just in this instance, is one to those matters are more objective. Because it's this district potential liability, but it's not makes decisions based on relationships. And as we know, relationship change. And it's the sure that there's objective criteria as an organization. Serious risks. Also do so the administration, given the sensitivity of this matter, the administration is looking for some direction. To board directors. I will request to see.
Lisa, go ahead. I need clarity on t-shirts. Oh, they want to bring the children that are part of the summer school, their summer program, to the batch and they're in their t-shirts. But their t-shirts don't say ASD on them. No, they say Ortiz Art. They say Ortiz Art. So because I don't see why any student, and again, it's a legal issue, it's not my department. However, I don't see why we would be having something in the community and we would be saying that the students can't wear t-shirts. We have people coming from other cities who are even. Right. People had a problem with them working with the Robb Middle School. I think that's I'm gonna cut you off. Yeah, go ahead. But I think working with Robb Middle School and attending a back to school bash with a t-shirt are two different things. Correct. So if you're, I think I do hear and understand you're asking to listen, there's a cease and desist. We need to handle that. That's something that I would willing to, as a board member, to work on, but to provide clarity. the organization, and their summer program kids are looking forward to attending the back to school bash that they come early.
But, so no one has a problem with the Peace Corps Foundation and, you know, the.
Those children should be able to attend and get whatever supplies they need.
Not just them, but also the organization, the whole organization.
I don't think anybody's gonna be put out of anywhere. I think that whatever that order is, and we have it in front of us, right? I think that these are two separate issues. I don't think anybody, just for clarity, I don't think anybody's being locked out of the.
But that's what it felt like.
I'm gonna ask that Dr. Burke speak to that.
So this is the one Allentown. That tag Allentown. So everyone who lives in Allentown, we had some friends who did not live in Allentown last year. But that's where everyone who lives in Allentown or works in Allentown as a community partner in Allentown is welcome to come to the last school bash. Will be free food and fun, balls and swimming, all the great things happening. It is for everyone. No one has said, no one in administration, no one in school administration has said that anyone is excluded from the back to school bash. We're excited. Please come to the back to school bash. Please, if your students are coming to back to school bash, please for the entire community.
All right, looking to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Next to the, education.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to go to the Education Committee of the whole. For the school district for the city of Allentown for the day August 8th, 2024. I tell you that the board welcomes and invites public comments. You may address the board on agenda and or non-agenda items. First opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting, limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. You will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. We have a public comment policy located at the table next to the comment cards. For our board's policy, in person, you address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy. Either on issues presented in the resolution is being considered, or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operations of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual is out of order. You do to address the board, please pull out a comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. Comment cards again are located on the podium near the door. So to recognize, please come to the podium, take your name and address for the record. Comment and your remarks to 3 minutes. Dr. Gordon, do you have any remarks at this time?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Conover. Everyone, come to the back to school bash, please. So tonight, we are presenting our school improvement plans. So this organization will call them continuous improvement plans because we are in lead in the spirit of continuous improvement. So we call them just a plan. The plan stays on the shelf, but right now it goes into Google Docs. So the plan, continuous improvement plans. We are to our districts, our continuous improvement plan, as well as our new strategic plan, lighting the way for innovation and excellence. This is required by the Pennsylvania Department of Education as we submit to these plans and we sent them from the school board of directors. And that's what we're doing tonight. Our schools, we have various designations. We are excited that members of our team, our school teams are here this evening. So thank you so much. We honor you, the work that you do at the school level. We know that the teacher is the greatest learner, improving student achievement, the second teacher is the school leader, principal, and third, family. So we thank all of you who are here tonight for this month. They don't know who's going to present this. So I mentioned that the focus of these plans are emotional development and mathematics, graduation rate, to climate culture and such. So we're excited about presenting the school. Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Up to the speech.
Thank you, Dr. Burks. At this time, we're only taking public comments on the agenda items. Do you have the cards? Okay, tonight we don't have the cards, so we're gonna go to the next thing. We have 5 agenda items tonight. However, I'm gonna ask that we pull number 4. That's located under family engagement materials of Sonia Sotomayor Dual Language School. I would like to request that we pull that into our next board meeting so that we may be prepared. Is that okay? Yes. So therefore, we have 4 agenda items for tonight. First agenda item, I'm gonna ask Dr. Broadway come forward for the school plans for continuous improvement.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary, School Board of Directors, and Superintendent Burks. I'd like to present our continuous improvement plans. As was stated, our continuous improvement plans were directly correlated with our strategic plan. Instead of having to work on, oh, okay. We had a team that worked on these. So we reviewed all of our school plans and presented our designated schools to you. So as the schools were working on their plans and as we were working on this, we wanted to make sure that we weren't working, that we worked smarter, not harder. So we aligned our strategic plan with the work that was required by the state. So with our continuous improvement plans, you'll go over our mission and vision, the alignment to district and continuous improvement plans, school improvement plan designations. We'll go over the schools that have state designations, measuring the goals through indicators and next level work. And Ms. Smith has been supporting our federal programs and support throughout the year. And we also have a new director of federal programs. We're excited to have Ms. Carrie Cantor. And so she has been very helpful in this work as well. Thank you. So our mission is the same as our mission with our strategic plan. It is one plan that is going to drive us to 2030. The mission of Allentown School District is to serve the diverse educational needs of each student by igniting their passion for learning and creating an academic culture. The vision, the Allentown School District, envisions a learning community that increases student achievement by cultivating positive relationships, offering rigorous and meaningful curricula, and by empowering the Allentown community. District continuous improvement goals. Slide, please. Thank you. Thank you. Our district continuous improvement plan goals. Our continuous improvement plan, if you see at the footer, goes from 2022 to 2025. So these were already in place. So the goals are the attendance goals. To increase the percentage of students who are chronically absent will decrease from 47% to 20%. We want to reduce that number. In regard to foundational literacy, 85% of kindergarten students will demonstrate mastery of foundational literacy skills as measured by DIBELS. Grade 3, reading on grade level, the percentage of grade 3 students reading on grade level will increase 30% as measured by the English Language Arts PSSA exam. Grades 4 and 8 math proficiency. The percentage of grades 4 and 8 eighth grade students demonstrating math proficiency will increase by 30% as measured by the math PSSA. Social emotional development. The average social emotional domain score will increase from 2.69 to 3.4 as measured by the Pennsylvania Department of Education and Culture survey. And the graduation rate. Allentown School District's graduation rate will increase from 80.3% to 90%. So again, these were the goals from our continuous improvement plan that was from 2022 to 2025, but we adopted our strategic plan. And so we are now in alignment for these goals and I'll come to that slide in a second, with our priorities, our academic and our social emotional one. So we have 8 schools that have been designated by the Pennsylvania Department of Education. We have our CSI, or Comprehensive School Improvement Schools, that is a 3-year designation. William Penn High School, Building 21, Harrison Morton Middle School, Robb Middle School, South Mountain Middle School, Drexel Middle School. We have our ATS High School, which is Louis E. Durif High School, and that designation is also a 3-year, focusing on English language learners and students with disabilities. Our targeted support improvement schools, 1-year designation, we have Union Terrace, for Black students, and Louis E. Durif High School for economically disadvantaged Black and Hispanic students. And it's a 1-year designation, and we had several schools that came off the list from last year. So several of our schools, they come off of the TSI. Aligned to the strategic plan priorities and goals. Previously, I went over the district improvement plan. This is where we align. The school improvement plan goals are aligned to the district comprehensive plan goals and strategic plan. Below are the listed goals for each school. These goals are embedded in the strategic plans, priorities, and strategic decisions. Priority 1, academic excellence, and priority 2, safety and whole child development. In addition to goals, schools have identified multiple indicators to monitor their progress towards meeting their goals and getting off of the designated list. So their goals include indicators that are aligned to improving literacy, English language growth and attainment, attendance, climate and culture, and graduation rates. All of these are identified with strategic actions in our strategic plan. Yes, ma'am. We've got, if we do all this and then we come back, what does that mean? Climate and culture. If in our strategic plan with climate and culture, we're dealing with our own social emotional aspects of being a student, having safe learning environments within the classroom, our building, our facilities. All of that is improving the culture for the school. And so priority 2 is the safe and whole child development. And the strategic actions that are listed in that priority go over social emotional learning for the wellness of the culture. Thank you. Question.
Let's talk about those indicators in the just help add a little bit to that, please.
On all of our goals and our student improvement success factor that on assessing that English growth and attainment attendance and climate and culture. So you can see that we're looking to increase, they were back on our climate survey. We're looking to increase parent and family engagement and attendance at school events and our PTOs, and we're decreasing the number of suspensions in 2024-25 to 20 from 23-24. Now, as Dr. Bradley and Amy said, these schools have 3-year designations. The state made some amazing growth in this area. For example, Allen decreased their August school suspension by 27% this year. Decreased it by 28%. Building 21 decreased it by 58%. Robb decreased it by 70%. Drexel decreased it by 39%. Harrison Morton decreased it by 43%. Mountain decreased it by 47%. Yeah. Union Terrace decreased it by 75%. One of the other goals that we've done really well and that's showing growth with is our attendance. We were looking at increasing the chronically absent students. And so, for example, Building 21 decreased it by 11% this year. Rob decreased it by 9% this year. Morton decreased it by 6% this year. And why we're really focused on those two goals we do right now, is because if our kids are in school and our students are in school, then they can be learning. So our students are making great gains in having our students come to school so that we can actually get to the instruction and the student learning to increase student outcomes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Some work, we're continuously making sure that we're in a cycle of improvement. So we are planning, we are doing, we're studying, we're continuing that circle. This year, not only do schools have plans, our departments have plans. And every quarter, we're monitoring not only the school's plans, but also our department plans. Each Nick will be monitoring their school plans. So we will be monitoring on a daily basis or on a quarterly basis in school quality reviews. As we get into our next level work, we're going to implement those school quality reviews. So even our schools that are not designated are going to have to be presenting the data on a quarterly basis. We're going to continue to implement data lives across our district. We're going to expand instruction around to every school in the district. We're going to provide opportunity for our families to be more involved in the academic decision making by offering and hosting family instructional nights. We're going to have a laser-like focus on learning and teaching. We're going to refine our instructional practices, expand our tutoring offerings. We're going to provide coaching and effective instruction and core content. We all need to understand what the math content is, what the science content is. For our teachers, our reading specialists, our instructional coaches, our school and district leaders. And we're going to implement multi-tiered systems of support. We are going to request your board action to approve our comprehensive school improvement plans of Harrison, Morton, South Mountain, Trexler, Building 21, and Allen as a result of their CSI designation. We're going to ask you to approve the ATFI school plan for Gareth and then targeted support for Gareth and Union Terrace. But before we end this presentation, we have to celebrate our principals. We talked about some of the growth that we had. So I'd like acting principal Mr. Clark to join up. Stand up from here. Here, sorry, Mr. Derek Allen, Mr. Rosado from Building 21. Oh, from Union Terrace. Mr. McNulty from Harrison Morton. Mr. Trent from South Mountain. Mr. Amaro from Trexler. And Mr. Delgado from Rock. While we discuss how the school suspensions and the decrease in attendance, I would like to make it known that on their benchmark and on their keystones, Building 21 has shown increases. Their benchmark was a 19% increase in English. Their keystone was about a 4% increase, as well as Union Terrace had an increase in reading, and Rob and South Mountain had increases in reading as well on their, yes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as far as we're talking about this for our regular students, but what about our athletes? What are we doing for our athletes? I'm really tired of athletes. I know one baseball team is doing really well. Well, two, and Deerfield's doing really well too. But the other sports, especially doing that. The other sports, especially football, they're not doing that.
With that, I would say also referring back to our strategic plan, the equity commitment. For each priority, there are equity commitments that we want to reach all of our students. So we carry this all of our students. We want to see these growth and kudos to the schools again for making the climate better. And decreasing the suspension.
So we're gonna ask, are we gonna add the ADs, the athletic directors into this too as well, that they have to be held accountable?
Yes,
To the principals?
yeah, everyone is like departments.
the continuous improvement plan, that slide, everyone is accountable, letting us know how their work impacts the strategic plan, that therefore impacts the work.
Yes, and I'm gonna ask that Dr. Burks make a comment. Thank you very much, Dr. Wait, part of my little finger gets goes places without me sometimes. And thank you very much for Ms. Smith. Well, so Dr. Burks, if you could.
Yes. It's right now, Chairman, I make some remarks on the athletics, just again, a little bit on the charge that we've given on the team.
High school have their list that based on their current school, current grades. Those are processes that we are putting in place because we want our athletes, these athletes to be ready when they're when they graduate to excel both academically and in athletically in post-secondary education.
Thank you, because we have not had a meeting, so I didn't know. Thank you very much for that update. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Communicator, and thank you, Mrs. Smith. Principal business, if I don't say, I'm extremely excited and proud of our school leaders. Can you just please stand again and give them a little applause for all the great work? Yes. Well, thank you for your hard work and commitment, and I know that we've set some really big targets for you. And I just want to say I really appreciate your work, and I'm so honored to serve with each of you as your school teams that can build our children and our business. We are so excited to continue as you get this done, but I'm expecting more. We're expecting greater. And again, I want to thank Mr. Yurchik as well for working with our athletic members to ensure that we create a culture that we, in the mission statement, we want to create an academic culture. It's okay that we are academically and all those other gifts and skills, but we want to strengthen the academic culture. So I want to thank the entire team. I'm so elated right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Burks. This is an action item. May I have a motion to move this action item forward to our next regular board meeting scheduled for the 22nd of August? I make that motion. Been first and second. All in, any discussion? All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Hearing is seeing none, let's go to our next regular board meeting. The next item on our agenda is community services for children. Incorporated Head Start collaboration, and I'm gonna ask that Dr. Jody come. Right.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the item before you is the renewal services for children. This is an annual renewal, so the contract has been in place and our partnership has been in place for many years. We're very proud of that partnership. They provide Head Start services every year for students in our school district. So this year, they will be offering up to 60 students spots in the Head Start program, and those classrooms will be at Hayes and Ramos. So again, we're really excited for this partnership. It helps us with strategic plan priority number 1, which is the academic excellence piece, as well as priority area number 4, empowering parents. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. This too is an action item. May I have a motion for this action item? Can you make that motion? It's been first and second. All in favor, please let, is there any discussion? No. All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. This moves forward to our next regular board meeting on the 22nd. At this time, I'm gonna ask that Ms. Deborah Prosto come forward. We're gonna be talking about, there's also an action item. It's the Gear Up annual action plan.
Yes.
Budget.
Board's approval of the annual Gear Up action plan and budget. The goal of Pennsylvania Gear Up is equitable college access and success for students by increasing student achievement,
data-driven decisions, developing a sustainable college-going culture, and establishing a shared vision, a community vision for equitable college access and success. This is year 4 of the grant. The focus areas for 10th grade include enhancing social emotional learning and non-cognitive skills, encouraging students to take 2 years of math beyond Algebra 1, increasing students' STEM identity, establishing Gear Up as a resource for families, for students and school personnel, developing a college-going culture, and providing leadership opportunities for students. The grant supports college and career readiness through workshops, mentoring, counseling, tutoring, and college and career field trips and tours.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Any questions?
Thank you.
May I have a motion?
Second.
May I have a second to move this forward?
I second.
All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any that oppose? Hearing seen none, this moves forward to our next regular board meeting scheduled for the 22nd of August, 2024. At this time, we're going to go to item number 5, which is the Lexia Learning System. Elementary and secondary renewal. This is an action item, and I'm going to ask that Ms. Smith. Hi, you back.
I am back. This evening, this is a renewal to request the board's approval to renew Lexia Core 5 for elementary schools and Lexia Power Up for middle and high schools at a cost of $317,400. Some of the data from the past year shows that elementary students in Core 5 working on skills at or above grade level increased by 45% throughout the year, from 11% to 56%. Students working on 2 skill levels below decreased 34% from 55% to 21%. So we're starting to close those gaps of a second grader might be working, starting the year in kindergarten, moving up through the programs into first grade level, getting towards that second grade level. In our secondary schools, so our middle schools and our high schools, the foundational literacy skills, we increased that by 24%. They started at 82% and ended the year at 58%. So we are seeing increases in the Lexia platform, and now we have to look at how we're going to triangulate that data so that we can see it in our PSSA scores and other outcomes of student success. This is something that will be reviewed on a quarterly basis, as we just talked about in our continuous learning, our continuous improvement plans.
Are there any questions? May I have a motion?
I make that motion.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any that oppose? Hearing and seeing none, this moves forward to our next regular board meeting, which is the 22nd of August, 2024. At this time, take the public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have any cards? We don't have any cards. Is there any old business? Is there any new business from the public board? May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, August 8, 2024. The board welcomes and invite public comment. You may address the board on agenda and/or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public comment cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolution being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the board secretary, Mr. Simonson. Comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We'll now have the roll call. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Brown? Ms. Conover? Ms. Harris?
Here.
Ms. Matheson? Ms. Noel?
Here.
Ms. Ortiz?
Here.
Ms. Sierra? Ms. Tiburcio?
Here.
We have 6 board members present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. And for board president remarks, I just have a short remark. I am so elated with what's happening in the district right now. I am so impressed with our principal, with our administration, with our faculty, with our staff. You guys are doing a tremendous job. Not only did you do a tremendous job last year, but in preparation for the school year that's coming up, we're hearing amazing things about the development, the coaching, and all the different things that you guys have been attending over the past few weeks to prepare for our students. So we truly, truly appreciate every single person. And I hope that you are well rested and geared up for this next phase of ASD, because what do you say? Ain't no stopping.
Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the
We're
move.
on
We
the
get
move.
better together. All our
Yes.
strengths are moving.
Yes. That ends my remarks. The superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. During tonight, I forgot to mention that on August 19th, for all our faculty and staff, we will have our convocation at PPL Center. So we're asking everyone to arrive. The school leaders will give their faculty and staff instructions as we bus people. And we've invited our partners and various people. So our convocation is August 19th, PPL Center from 9 to 11. So all the teachers and paraprofessionals, everyone on staff, we look forward to welcoming you back to school. Tonight's special meeting agenda will include recommendations for the approval of a renewal charter for our Executive Education Academy Charter School. We will have our personnel agenda will also be presented to the school board of directors. We'll have the approval of the district solicitor to complete the agreement for property purchase is also on tonight's special meeting. And I just again want to remind everyone that school begins on August 26th, and we expect to welcome all the children and all the faculty and staff on August 26th for our brand new year. And just as a reminder, kindergarten, grade 6 and grade 9 students, there's orientation on Thursday, August 22nd. We look forward to a great school year. Welcome back. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we are only taking public comments on agenda items. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. No comments? May I have a motion to approve the Board of Directors report?
Second.
May I have a second? Perfect. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Matheson? Ms. Noel?
Yes.
Ms. Ortiz?
Yes.
Ms. Tiburcio?
Yes.
Ms. Conover? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. May I have a motion for approval of the personnel report?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. May I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Madison. Is there any discussion? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Tiburcio?
Yes.
Ms. Conover? Ms. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Matheson? Ms. Noel?
Yes.
Ms. Ortiz?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Singh, can you join us and can the rest of the team please stand as we welcome new members of our team to our learning community? If the board could assist me and welcome them to our learning community.
Good evening, Board. We'd like to welcome some new teammates to our administrative team. We'll start with some appointments at Deer High School. Longtime teacher at the Allentown School District, Dr. Layla Little, will be an assistant principal at Deer High School. Joining us from the teaching ranks, although very quickly ascended to a leadership position, Jacqueline Turner, assistant principal at Deer. And another longtime member of our team here in the Allentown School District, acting assistant principal at Union Terrace, Bridget McDonald.
Want to thank you and welcome you to our leadership team. We're excited about your willingness to share your gifts and talents with us. And as we said, we are a learning organization, so we look forward to learning and growing and executing with you. So thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Burks. May I have a motion for approval for the finance report?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Yes. Mr. Tiburcio,
Yes.
Ms. Conover, Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Matheson, Ms. Noel,
Yes.
Ms. Ortiz.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. At this time, we're only taking public comments on non-agenda items. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Mr. Secretary, do we have any? Is there any old business to come before the board? Is there any new business? May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
All right. Everyone have a good night. This meeting is adjourned.